Morning, Chairman Winslow. We're still gathering here.
Yep, I understand.
He's actually in the room.
Oh, good.
Okay. Oh, no, I was just gonna text him. I gotta go get my sheet.
Morning, Jim Letzelter here, checking to see if I can be heard.
Yeah, hi, Jim. Coming in loud and clear.
Excellent, thank you. I'll mute till my turn.
This is Kim Drexler. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Commissioner Gray, can you hear me speaking?
Yes?
Welcome everyone to the Delaware Public Service Commission meeting of January 28th, 2026. The meeting is called to order. There's first thing on our agenda is the reading of the meeting minutes. Does any commissioner have a change or correction?
Move we adopt.
Hearing none.
Move we adopt the meeting minutes of January 7th, 2026.
I second the motion.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Commissioner Correa,
Aye.
Commissioner Conaway,
Aye.
Commissioner Drexler,
Aye.
and Commissioner Gray.
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. The motion carries. Public comment is for this scheduled. Is there anyone that wishes to make public comment?
Chairman, I do believe there are some people online if you'd like me to read our public comment notes.
Yes, I would appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Morning, members of the public. When I call your name, you may come to the table, speak directly into the microphone, state your name for the record, and proceed with your public comment. Each speaker will get 2 minutes. When your time has expired, I will let you know. You are also welcome to submit your public comment in writing by mailing it to our office here at 861 Silver Lake Boulevard, Suite 100, Dover, Delaware 19904, or by emailing it to us at psc@delaware.gov. If you are participating via Zoom and wish to provide public comment, please use the raise hand function now, and you will be permitted to unmute when we call your name. Kendall, I don't know the names, though. Did you text me? Okay, William Ruiz, you may speak. Are
Hey, good
you,
morning. Can you hear me okay?
there's a little bit of an echo, and it's not very loud. If you could speak up, that would be great.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me,
We can hear you now.
perfect. Thank you for confirming. Good morning, folks. My name is William Ruiz. I'm calling in from Wilmington, resident over here. Thanks for the opportunity to talk. I'm a resident. I want to speak on behalf of my own household and multiple residential service addresses as it pertains to gas and utility, basically electricity utility bills. I have a concern that I was hoping to voice to the group. It's about the sustained escalation of natural gas delivery and rider charges across multiple addresses. Gas delivery costs now frequently exceed the cost of the gas supply itself, even where usage has remained flat or declined. This increase appeared structurally and compounding year over year rather than usage driven or temporary. There doesn't seem to be a cap, and there doesn't seem to be any impact or consideration for affordability. It goes kind of astronomical. Customers have no alternative provider for delivery services and limited ability to mitigate fixes. Customers are often recommended to use the average billing process, which, yes, it lessens the blow on high use months, but it doesn't solve the root problem, which is the increase in costs, particularly the increase in delivery costs. They're disproportionately impacting households with multiple meters, small property owners, renters, and these are already absorbing these folks are already absorbing increase in taxes and insurance. So it's just becoming almost to the point of unsustainable or unbearable for living. The last thing I'd like to say is just I understand that these costs are for sustaining systems, but I think that we need a little bit more scrutiny and attention on these matters, because these winter bills, I mean, they're going crazy. I think there was the rate of supply increase we saw in our analysis was 40%, and delivery was 40% increase year over year, and then a 17% increase in supply itself, which have made bills roughly at minimum more than 50% in cost year over year. Thanks for the talk, or rather, thanks for the ability to talk, and thanks for listening.
Anyone else, Kendall? Chairman, I believe that concludes public comment.
Hey, thank you, Mr. Lees, for taking the time to come down and talk to us. We appreciate it. I confess that we find that the cost for utilities is a challenge, and I'm going to assure you we're looking at everything we can to cut costs for consumers. Consent agenda, is there any commissioner that wishes to have a matter taken off the consent agenda? Commissioner Drexler?
Yes, I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Commissioner Gray, second.
Is there any discussion, commissioners? Hearing none, Commissioner Correa,
Aye.
Commissioner Conaway,
Aye.
Commissioner Drexler,
Aye.
Commissioner Gray,
Aye.
I vote aye, and the motion carries. Number one on the regular agenda is in the matter of the application of Delmarva Power and Light Company for an increase in electric base rates. Proposed order number 10949. And I'm not sure who's there to present it.
Good morning, Chair Winslow, Commissioners. This is Isha, Delmarva Power.
Englishman.
Delmarva Power filed an application on December 9th seeking approval of an increase in electric base rates and certain changes to the electric service tariff. I want to note that the estimated bill impact for a residential customer using an average of 810 kilowatt hours per month is estimated to be an increase of $0.42 from an average of $155.37 to $161.79. And Delmarva Power respectfully requests the Commission enter proposed order number 10949, which will open the docket for this application. And to be clear for the record, this opening order is procedural and does not reflect any approval of Delmarva Power's application and request. I also want to take the opportunity to note that we've all emerged from Winter Storm Fern this past week, and thankfully with minimal outages that have since been restored. But the storm is a reminder that critical infrastructure and a modernized grid are a result of careful planning and strategic investments. Providing safe and reliable service is paramount, and we urge our stakeholders and partners in this proceeding to keep that in the forefront. The order number 10949 allows interim rates to take effect July 9th, 2026, with proration and subject to refund following the Commission's final decision. The proposed order appoints a hearing examiner to oversee the proceeding and sets a deadline of February 27th, 2026 for petitions to intervene. The order also requires Delmarva to give public notice of the filing of the application and the proposed rate changes. Delmarva Power is prepared to publish notice promptly upon the Commission's approval of the order. We thank staff for preparing the proposed order and allowing us the opportunity to review and comment. We look forward to working with staff, the DPA, and all of our partners and stakeholders.
Thank you very much, Ms. Reed. Does Fred have any comments, staff?
Kate Workman on behalf of
DPA? Go ahead, please, Kate.
Thank you. Kate Workman on behalf of staff. I just wanted to let you know that staff supports this opening order, and like Ms. Shen said, it is procedural. Nothing that we're doing in this order is giving DPL any kind of special treatment. Rather, we're simply doing what we need to do by statute to open up the order, set a hearing examiner, provide a time for the public to intervene if they so choose. It is very normal in the course of our business. So staff recommends the Commission enter order number 10949. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Workman. Public Advocate?
No further comments from the Division of the Public Advocate. What Ms. Workman says is accurate in terms of this is just opening the docket procedurally, letting the case basically get started.
Thank you. Commissioners?
Mr. Chairman, this is Commissioner Gray. I have one question.
Go ahead.
The microphone cut out when the amount of the increase, the refundable that goes into effect in July was stated. Could I have that data point again, please?
Yes, Commissioner Gray. I had talked about the estimated bill impact for a residential customer using an average of 810 kilowatt hours per month. The estimated impact is approximately $6.42. from a current average of $155.37 to $161.79.
Okay, that's per month, yes?
Yes.
All right, thank you very much. I have no further questions, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, we have a motion.
I move that we adopt the order number 10949.
Second the motion?
Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, Commissioner Correa,
Aye.
Commissioner Conaway,
Aye.
Commissioner Drexler,
Aye.
Commissioner Gray,
Aye.
and I vote aye. The motion carries. Thank you, everyone. Number 2 is in the matter of the regulation governing termination of residential electric or natural gas service by public utilities for non-payment. We have proposed order number 10950, and we have Delmarva to present.
Kay Workman on behalf of staff, Chair. Staff's going to be presenting this one.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. That's right.
Last meeting, January 6th, I believe, we held 7th. January 7th was our last meeting. We held the public hearing for Regulation 3002, which governs utility shutoffs. Last year, the legislature adopted a lot of the regulation as a statute, so most of the changes within that we're proposing to make final are removing duplicative regulations that are now codified as statutes. An important change removes the personal contact requirement prior to the termination of utility services. With the current metering infrastructure that we have, shutoff can happen remotely. So what we're hoping is that this change will enable the utilities to save a significant amount of money, which can then hopefully mitigate rate increases in the future. Staff has received no comments or recommendations. So we recommend that the commission adopt the proposed amendments as final. Accordingly, staff requests that the commission enter order number 10950, adopting the amendments as final. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Workman. Are there any other comments? Commissioners, any questions?
Move we adopt
A
order,
motion.
order number 10950 as presented.
I second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, Mike Correa,
Aye.
Commissioner Conaway,
Aye.
Commissioner Drexler,
Aye.
Commissioner Gray,
Aye.
and I vote aye. The motion carries. Thank you, everyone. Number 3 is in the matter of provision of standard office supply to retail consumers in the service territory of Delmarva Power and Light. And we've got the staff leading this off.
Good morning. Good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. Samantha Kane on behalf of staff. On Monday, January 26, 2026, Delmarva staff, Commission staff, and the Commission's technical consultant, Liberty Consulting, monitored Tranche 2 of Delmarva's Standard Offer Service or SOS auction. Here today representing Liberty is Jim Ledzelter. Dr. Ledzelter is a management consultant with over 30 years of experience in the electric power industry, including, as you will recall, previously serving as the Commission's technical consultant for 9 years for the SOS periods of 2013 to 2021. The slide presentation can be found filed in docket number 25-0747 on Delafile, the Commission's e-filing system. For those who would like to follow along, and the presentation may be viewable on stream. At the end of the public presentation, staff would respectfully ask you to approve the bids. If you wish to review the actual bid results, the Commission can vote to go into executive session for a confidential presentation. Dr. Ledzelter, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Samantha, and good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. This presentation, as Samantha said, is a review of the Standard Offer Service, SOS, supply procurement that was held this week. It was held on Monday, January 26th. This presentation recaps my role on behalf of the Liberty Consulting Group's technical consultant for the Commission, and the basics of the auctions referred to as Tranche 2 of the 2026 procurement. I will also go over the level of participation by energy suppliers in terms of both the number of bidders and the number of bids received for each of the 5 blocks of this Tranche 2. And I'll provide a description of the current power market conditions that drive auction bid prices. And finally, I'll provide my recommendation related to the results of these auctions. Next slide, please. The Liberty Consulting Group has a typical role of providing the technical monitoring services for the Commission. And we summarize what we saw in 3 bullets. First of all, overall, the auctions were very well run and consistent with the RFP. They were competitive, and adequate participation and bid activity were observed. And finally, and most importantly, they resulted in prices that were consistent with market conditions that we see right now. Next slide. Our role, as usual, is to review communication with and data access for the prospective bidders. We monitor the bidder eligibility process and the status of bidder eligibility, and then we confirm the fees paid to NLX. NLX is the company that provides the online auction platform through which the bids are received and collected. And we develop this market assessment, a snapshot of which you'll see today, and we approve the opening prices. And then finally, we monitor the whole thing when it goes live, as it did on Monday. Next slide, please. So for Tranche 2, as usual, there were 5 blocks up for bid. 4 of them were residential and small commercial and industrial, or risky, at about 55 megawatts each, for a total of about 220 megawatts. And the medium general service class, or MGS, had one single block of about 36 megawatts. And just as a reminder, there are 2 different delivery periods. The risky class serves a 2-year period commencing this June 1st, and the MGS, LGS, and GSP are 1-year delivery periods, also commencing on June 1st. Of course, LGS and GSP are only auctioned in one single block each in Tranche 1, which takes place in the fall. Only MGS was auctioned this time. Next slide. So in terms of participation, the number of eligible bidders did actually increase year over year. However, interestingly, this time only 8 of the 12 eligible suppliers submitted bids in Tranche 2, which is down from 10 in Tranche 1. But overall, still, the level of participation in terms of the number of eligible and active actual bidders did promote a very competitive bidding environment that we observed. Next slide. The bid activity represents the number of bids, mostly that were received in Tranche 2. We also show the number of bidders in each of the blocks. And it's very similar to what happened in Tranche 2 of 2025. There were generally 7 bidders throughout each of the blocks, and they're, as you can see on the far right, slightly more in terms of the number of bids received this year over last. And it did lead to a good level of competition that we are happy with. Next slide. As I mentioned earlier, we work with NLX and then provide a market assessment to identify any market conditions that could possibly lead to postponing the auctions or have massive or changes to expected auction prices. And then we establish opening prices for each block by customer class. And then we review NLX's estimate of the range of winning prices for each block. And later, we don't show this in this particular deck, but if we were to go into executive session, I can show how the winning prices line up with the expected price range. And finally, we did conclude that there were no adverse market conditions and that the auctions should proceed as scheduled as they did. Now, as far as the market's concerned, forward energy prices were a bit higher than in Tranche 1 and substantially higher than this time last year in 2025. And this is, as we can see, we compare the prices in this. The red line is the most recent wholesale energy price by month that took place for this tranche, 2026 Tranche 2. And the dashed line is 2026 Tranche 1, and the black solid line is 2025 Tranche 2. So in each case, we have seen the market prices edge higher. More so over last year, and they seem to have stabilized and are a little bit closer to what they were in Tranche 1. But still, year over year, we saw an increase in wholesale market prices for energy. Next slide. This is consistent with what we see in the gas market. Power and gas are very tightly correlated, and we see that year over year, generally, the prices have gone up 9.3% higher in the 1-year delivery period and 5.2% higher in the 2-year delivery period relative to the 2025 Tranche 2. Next slide. This slide is more graphic in nature and not so much about the numbers and the magnitude of the numbers themselves, but it's designed to show the consistent correlation between natural gas prices, in this case for what's known as Transco Zone 6 non-New York, and the DPL zone wholesale energy price. And these are forward prices, and you can see that they go up and down together. Next slide. Capacity prices for this RFP, they're subject to capacity prices in the market for the 2026-27 delivery period, and that all blocks are subject to that. But also, since the risky blocks are for a 2-year period, they're also subject to the 2027-28 period, which tends to level out the pricing because it's an average of 2 years. The whole concept of designing risky like that is so there are not as big as swings in the capacity component or energy component because you're taking an average of 2 years during that period. Next slide. In conclusion of the public presentation, market conditions indicated all systems go. The auctions were well run. The results were competitive, and they resulted in winning prices that were consistent with the market conditions that we observed. And in summary, we recommend approving these winning bids. And that is the conclusion of my public presentation. I'm happy to take any questions you have. And if you would like to see the results in a confidential session, I'm available for that as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. Commissioners, do you have any questions?
No questions.
Dr. Ledzeller, it's my understanding that the gas production is near record levels, and we seem to have an uptick in prices. So it appears that the wholesale prices are not as closely connected to the production figures, and that something happens at the retail or regional level to cause the prices to get higher. Now, I'm probably in left field, and that may not be at all correct. You understand what I'm trying to say? Could you please comment?
Well, there is obviously a correlation between production, but also that includes a relationship with demand for any commodity, particularly in one with limited inventory. And not to give a overall college course in supply, demand, and economics, but the less inventory capability there is for any commodity, the more volatile the prices are. Or electricity has very little storage and their prices are volatile. Gas has some inventory capability and storage, and it's less volatile than electricity, generally speaking, historically. And as a third example, to show the relationship between inventory capabilities and price, coal is generally very stable because it's very easy to inventory. You just pile it in a pile. So that being said, even though there's a lot of production in the near term, there has been, for those of you who are actually in Delaware and are painfully aware, a weather situation that happened. And just since last week, the gas market spiked up in reaction to that. And it had implications for prices in gas months from now. And I think the market overreacted to that. I mean, the price went up fairly substantially just in the last few days. And it lasts for a few months. But if you recall on my slide that showed the outlook for natural gas prices, that has ticked up since I did that slide a week ago. And the only place it really made a difference is in the average of the first year of the risky delivery, and the second year is exactly the same. So that's another indication that the market overreacted to a very short-term situation, and that happens year after year. And I think savvy power deliverers and gas traders know this and take advantage of that. But that said, prices are still generally stable. They have been up year over year, but you're still going to have volatility like that. And I hope that answers your question, because I started to ramble a little bit.
Mr. Chairman.
No problem. I appreciate your.
Sure.
Mr. Chairman, this is Commissioner Gray. May I?
Go ahead, please.
Dr. Letzalter, thanks for the presentation and for the oversight of the auction and the results. So it's, from my perspective, it's appreciated the fact that, these weather conditions obviously are going to impact the gas and electric markets prices. Question that I would have is, do you think we may be doing the auctions in the wrong season? Would we have any more relief from the supply and the bidders if we were in a different season and they weren't, for example, short-range panicking as a consequence of the weather and the demand?
I guess the answer is it could possibly make a difference, but I'm hopeful that it's only a minor short-term condition that only affects the delivery period a little bit at most. Usually it's like I said in my explanation to the chairman that it affects the next few months, and our delivery period here really doesn't take place until June 1st. So it may have very little ultimate impact, but overall, it may have a little. I don't know if it's worth changing the time. It's certainly not something I would confidently give a recommendation to without a deeper study, but it's a thought that may consider further consideration.
Yeah, it would be interesting to kind of monitor in the summer timeframe just a model if we were going to do an auction or go to the auctions at that time frame, what would some of those forward-looking prices come down and look like? Of course, the other aspect, as you mentioned in the equation, is the demand side. And of course, we all have high anxiety with regard to, the PJM footprint and the arrival of data centers and the need for more energy. And I'm sure that in the mix, we've got gas and electricity that are impacted on the demand side. So, but thank you very much. Thank you
You're
very
welcome.
much. And if you have any thoughts on that last statement, I'd be delighted to hear them.
I was just going to respond that in the grand scheme of things, when you look at the way prices change throughout the year, weather is a short-term condition that really shouldn't impact forwards from a long-term perspective. But when you're looking at, you could purchase forward gas from last summer. You could have done it for the delivery period that we're looking at, coming up June 1st to May 31st. That commences June 1st of this year. You could have bought that contract or sold that contract in last summer or this time last year, or you could do it now. And ostensibly, weather itself doesn't have much to do with it. There are longer term economic conditions that affect supply and demand versus the ripples that weather caused day to day. I just found it interesting that the forwards for that, the prompt months popped up a little bit in response to what I consider a short-term weather condition.
Well, it could be that, all of the entities on the demand side and the supply side are looking at weather patterns and getting a little anxiety ridden about the fact that the forecast for the future may have just as much extreme weather to confront.
It could be. I don't have a definitive answer, but yes, could be.
No further questions, Mr. Chairman. Thank you again, Doctor. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Chair Winslow.
Mr. Hardigan, do you?
Chairman Winslow, I believe the public advocate has a question.
Chair
Well, that'd be fine. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Just a couple questions, if I could, to help me understand your presentation. This is only my first year of going through this process, so I want to make sure I understand the information that you're presenting. So on slide 8, where you compare electricity prices between tranche 1 of this year and tranche 2 of this year, and also compared tranche 2 of this year to tranche 2 of last year, making sure I understand those numbers right. So for the 1-year delivery period, the prices in tranche 2 now are already 5.4% higher than they were when tranche 1 was done just this fall. Am I understanding that right?
Yes, that is correct. And we are talking about the wholesale energy price in terms of dollars per megawatt hour that are priced through the forward prices. And the numbers that are 5.4% higher is the average of the 1-year delivery period now for the delivery period versus the average of the total 12-month prices over that same delivery period that were shown in the market for tranche 1. So yes, you're reading that correctly.
Thank you. And then
Sure.
as compared year over year, so for tranche 2 that was just conducted versus tranche 2 1 year ago, the 1-year delivery period price was 19% higher.
Yes, that's the bigger issue, that year over year wholesale average energy prices have gone up that much.
Yeah, that is a terrifying amount for people trying to pay their bills. I thought Commissioner Gray's comment on future load was really interesting. I mean, if we are to accept the projections that PJM has on load growth in the PJM region of tens of gigawatts of new data center load, and as you mentioned a moment ago, this is a basic function of supply and demand. I was wondering if you could offer any more comment on what we might expect in future years. Because to me, seeing the projections PJM has for load growth and the actual amount and projections of new generation that's coming online, it's terrifying already. And when you see price reactions like this, it looks really concerning for people's ability to pay their bills.
I don't know that there was a question in there, but I will agree with you that there should be some concern about the impact of all these data centers that are potentially going to be built that will have an incredibly large draw on the system and that are going to force new capacity to be built. So PJM is working on that, as are various suppliers and the utilities.
And I guess, yeah, it was non-eloquent question. So I think my basic question is, in a supply and demand market where there are predictions of demand going up that much without predictions of equivalent generation coming online, basic supply and demand would suggest these prices are only going to continue to go up.
It really depends on what comes in for supply, but you are talking specifically about the demand growing a lot. As long as the supply can match it and the transmission system grid can handle it without too much congestion, then we won't see that. But one thing is for sure, as you've correctly pointed out, that there is the potential for an enormous increase in the load on everyone's system that is being addressed and should be carefully monitored. And we have to get ahead of it, all of us, in terms of making sure there's enough supply so it doesn't drive the price up beyond current levels.
Yeah, thank you. That's really helpful. And I'll just note that, you know, PJM, throughout its critical issue fast path process in the fall, was fairly transparent that it does not see enough generation being built to match this upcoming load. I had one last question, if I could, just to understand, on slide 11, you talk about the capacity prices. And I was wondering if you could just explain in perhaps a little more detail how those capacity prices are incorporated into the SOS auction, given that those capacity prices are for future years and that the capacity auction schedule has been quite disjointed recently.
Okay, good question. The suppliers need to come up with pricing that they can bid into our auctions such that they can turn a profit while, you know, getting as much as they can out of it and still win. And this is something that concerns every supplier and every buyer, is the overall cost that makes up the bid price. The bid price is ultimately in dollars per megawatt hour and is largely driven by the energy price that was shown in slide 8, as you pointed out. But also there's a capacity component, of course, and the PJM capacity auction process results in prices that are in dollars per megawatt day. And based on the load factor, which is how much energy is produced or consumed for a given capacity or demand, you spread out the cost of the capacity over that many megawatt hours to come up with an estimate of the capacity price component of the dollar per megawatt hour bids. So the actual capacity price in the PJM capacity auctions gets translated to different units, dollars per megawatt hour. And it's just, the market is what it is. And its capacity is a very big issue at PJM. And we've seen prices go up quite a bit. And it's not as big of a piece of the market or the bid price as energy, but it's definitely substantial and moves the needle.
Sorry, I realize that leads me to one last question, which is there's considerable, the last 2 auctions have had a capped capacity price such that it would not go above a threshold. at present, future capacity auctions are not capped. How do bidders account for that in their auction bids? And how does that get how does that get sorted out if those auction prices change substantially from where they have been in the last couple auctions, which, as you know, are already very high?
It's hard to answer that question without spending a great deal of time on it. But all of the bidders that own power plants and are providing power here have billions of dollars in assets that they're trying to sell power from, output from. They have sophisticated models that are market models that show what prices should be for energy and for capacity, and they do their best estimate on what that would be looking ahead. And then ultimately, the prices are determined by PJM through a competitive auction process. And that's just how they're determined. It's again, simple supply and demand. And they factor in those prices just like they do the outlook for energy prices.
So the bidders will use their models to estimate what they think the capacity price will be in the upcoming auctions.
No, they do that. Well, they can, and they do. But for the purposes of this auction, and every one that Delaware does for standard offer service, for the blocks that, provide standard offer service, the price is known by the time they're bidding. The first part for tranche one would be for the second year of risky to be estimated with a proxy price, but by the time the second tranche rolls around, it's already been established by the base residual auction that takes place, in this case in December.
I see. So the fall auction needed to use a proxy price. This auction knew what the PJM capacity market price was for that.
Only for the second year of risky, which is the 2027 and 28 delivery period.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that.
Mr. Hardigan, do you want to ask any questions on behalf of staff?
No, we're good, Chairman. Thank you.
Commissioners, any further questions? May we have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Gray.
I apologize. I apologize. One more thing.
Sure.
Does the commission wish to go into executive session? It sounds like a no. Commissioner Gray.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll move that the commission approve tranche 2 supply auction results for 2026 procurement.
I second.
The motion.
Sounds like Commissioner Drexler beat Commissioner Correa to the punch. Are there any questions? Discussion? Hearing none, Commissioner Correa.
Aye.
Commissioner Conaway.
Aye.
Commissioner Drexler.
Aye.
Commissioner Gray.
Aye.
And I vote aye. The motion carries, and thanks to Dr. Ledzelder and Ms. Kane.
Thank you, Chairman and Commissioners.
Thank you.
Mr. Hardigan.
Thanks, Chairman Winslow. Just wanted to note in Governor Meyer's State of the State address last week, he had some pointed words for both Delmarva and the commission in terms of rates, and the public advocate and I are continuing to speak with his office to determine, what that may translate into legislatively, but don't have any other updates for you on that at the moment. And our next meeting.
I guess there's universal concern about the prices.
Yes.
Next meeting?
Mr. Hardigan, Sorry, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Commissioner.
Matt, can you call me after we sign off, if you have a minute?
Yes.
Please? Thanks.
Next meeting is February 18th.
Thank you, everyone, for your attendance. The meeting is adjourned.
Thank you. Good day.